All right, y'all. We got a little bit of a different setup for you this week due to some, plans and the fact that we have life in the way and stuff. So we've got this little episode coming out for you with Anthony and I. Welcome back to another episode of the Unframe of Mind show, where we have uncomfortable conversations without a condom. I'm your host, Daniel Wagner.
Tater-Chip, Anthony. Trawick.
Yeah, over here munching, ruin it. Like, for those of you who are really sensitive to, noises
There's
in your ears.
Right there. There's your forbiddenness right here.
Right here. Chip. Potato chips are offensive.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord. All right. I'm down for you to tell me why a potato chip is offensive.
I ain't got a clue. I just kind of came off, You said find something in the room.
Fine, screw it. We'll have the audience tell us why they're offensive. I'm tired of doing all the work for you plebes, you know what I'm saying? So, anyway. Basically, we have a few things to cover, and the general theme of today's show has to do with the fact, when you focus on the small details of all these big news stories that we keep getting fed with all the time, you tend to lose sight of the big picture. You tend to lose sight of the how did we get here in the first place? That all-important question that could help prevent so many issues. It's been a theme that's been going through my mind in conversations with folks. It's been a theme going through my mind in terms of articles I've written, in terms of videos I'm making. It's just a general reminder for folks to step back once in a while. Yep. Stop getting caught up in the minutia of all the little tiny details of all these stories. Well, was his knee on his back 3 inches to the left? Did they pull him over for an air freshener or not? I mean, why is that really a thing? No, look, stop worrying about all the little details and start asking the big questions, and we could avoid so many of these problems. So, Anthony, what do you say we hop on into our topics for today, eh? Does this sound like a good plan to you? So I wanted to start by talking about, before we get into our big topics of the day, I guess, if you will, we're going to talk about the Coinbase thing. I don't know if anybody's familiar or aware, but we do have a Coinbase going public right now on the old ICOs.
Yep.
ICO? It's not an ICO, it's IPO. Sorry, yeah. I'm so into, blockchain terminology that I keep calling it an ICO, which is taken from IPO, which is initial public offering, and an ICO in the crypto industry is more like an initial coin offering. It's a little bit different, and a little bit different. Basically, according to Coinbase a few hours ago, they said today is a big milestone for Coinbase and even bigger milestone for crypto. Thank you to our employees and customers for getting us here. Together we can build the crypto economy and create economic freedom for all. Now, I don't really want to get into the details between, what's the difference between an IPO and an ICO and whatnot, but the long story here is that Coinbase has decided to become a publicly traded company. So not only are they making it where you can trade cryptos within their platform, but the company in and of itself is now going to be publicly traded. I assume with US dollar only. I don't suspect that the stock market is suddenly taking crypto to purchase your stock trades with.
It's funny that it's done in US dollar to trade an asset that deals Bitcoin.
Yeah, and it's something I didn't really see coming, honestly.
I didn't either, but I thought about that when I got off work and I bought some shares of Coinbase, pre-ordered, and I got to thinking, I was like, man, I'm spending US dollars to buy something that carries digital assets.
Right.
I had to stop and think. I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right for some reason or another. I don't know.
Well, I mean, because a lot of people that have been taking, in the crypto realm and the Bitcoin realm, it's been basically that the entire point of this stuff is to buck the system, to go against those mainstream things, to basically be an alternative to the stock market. Now, I don't imagine that the tradings within the company itself are going to impact the price of the platform as far as stock trades go. That has more to do with the company, how it's ran, who's running it. That's the kind of things you would want to look at. Maybe the types of coins that are being offered might make a difference because more people will end up using it. Mm-hmm. But from a marketing standpoint, this is a brilliant move because now a lot more are going to be familiar with the Coinbase name, which a lot of people already were. I mean, a lot of times that's kind of the first place new crypto traders will go. It's the simplest, most easy to use platform out there. Now, I have my own personal issues with it and will not be participating in the stock trade, but I wanted to ask you and give you an opportunity, Anthony, to just explain why you are buying. Like you are planning on purchasing some. It's not quite available, but it's almost available, right?
Yeah, it hasn't gone public just yet. It's supposed to sometime this afternoon. Don't know when. Now, I've been reading that as of this morning, originally the set price was at $250 to open the exchange, and rumors are having it that it's going to probably be above or over $300 a share.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at it like this. This is something new. It's never been done before as far as the crypto exchange becoming so broad and so public to people that are just not aware of this. And if you want to see cryptocurrency grow, you have to take risk like this, as we have in Bitcoin and other cryptos.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think that for the people that didn't get a chance to jump on board early enough to buy into crypto to become millionaires, and I'm not saying this is why you should buy into the Coinbase stock. I'm just saying I think you have a lot of those people out there that missed that boat, and this might be an opportunity for them to jump on something new to support not only Coinbase but crypto technology in a sense. And I think there's some pros and cons of that, because the benefactor of being one of those individuals such as myself who missed out on Bitcoin early on, even when you brought it to my attention some 4 years ago, I just turned my head to it.
Mm-hmm.
And now that over the last couple of months I've become more familiar with the technology and the purpose behind it, it only made sense to add a little bit of investment into Coinbase on an open exchange. The reason why is because this is going to reach the masses unlike it's done before. I mean, even though Coinbase right now sits at more than 50 million users, it has the possibility of reaching even more people. But Coinbase also does a lot more outside of just, trading and selling and buying crypto. And that's something that was kind of outlined by the CEO of the company. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but so it's innovative, it's new. It's kind of like with any new stock. I mean, if you think about it, or any new companies, such as Tesla, I mean, you go to buy shares in a company you know nothing about, but they have a vision to, set themselves up to be in a certain position 5-10 years from now. And that's kind of how I looked at, Tesla back when I bought some stock with them. And I'm also doing the same thing with, Coinbase. Technology is only going to get better, even though at times I feel like that it's our, worst enemy in some situations. But I think in overall sense, the avenue from Coinbase to Bitcoin is there, and it's going public. And I would encourage people to not necessarily jump on that bandwagon, but at least allow yourself, if you've got the money, spend a little bit, buy a share or two. Don't go overboard with it. I mean, don't spend more than you can afford to lose, because it's not going to make any sense in the long run to be to do that. And I think the other issue too that should be addressed, and I've only heard a few people talk about this, don't treat the stock as you would if it was Bitcoin. I think that's the misconception a lot of people have who have invested in cryptocurrency, is how they're going to approach this stock. I understand they're trying to do that because the concern right now is that Coinbase is actually going to kind of parallel, Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
So if Bitcoin drops, so is Coinbase. But Coinbase has already made it a point to let the public know that it's got so many other digital assets available, not just in coin, and not just in Bitcoin. So, and I think what's going to happen is over time, I think that when more people become familiar with Coinbase, they'll start to understand that there's more than just Ether. There's more than just Bitcoin, because there's more companies that are starting to invest and starting to trade and sell and so forth on Coinbase. So for me, it can only do.
Oh, just to cut you, you've said a lot. I haven't had a chance to respond just yet, but one of the things you mentioned was like, to treat crypto and the stock as two different things, and they really are. They're two completely different universes, and it drives me nuts when I hear people say things like, "Hey, I'd like to buy some stock in Bitcoin." Like that's not right. Because and it's understandable because a lot of people have trouble letting go of the legacy systems. I'm still myself trying to get used to looking at things in a Bitcoin price in BTC versus, okay, well, how much BTC or how much USD is this worth? I don't want to have to know everything in terms of how it compares to the US dollar. But it's just one of those things you're so used to, it's what you're used to. So it's hard to break away from that. And that's going to be one of the biggest challenges, is getting people to understand the difference between a stock and a cryptocurrency. It's not a company. It's not a thing you buy. It's a project that a lot of people are working on, yes, but it's not quite like a publicly traded company that has like a head CEO and it has centralized control structures and powers. It's a much more decentralized thing. And when you're buying a stock, you're not like that stock doesn't have any functionality in terms of like actual use. Whereas some of these places, you actually have the ability to use the token that's offered to trade amongst your friends, or you can use it to earn different features, or you can there's a lot of things you can do with them themselves that you can't do with a stock. Stock's just there to either make money or lose you money, really, and then you just buy it and sell it. Go on.
No, I was just going to say a stock is a investment into the company itself. It's not an investment into cryptocurrency. If that makes sense.
Right.
And I think that's the problem that a lot of people are probably going to correlate with this, and they shouldn't do that. And to me, my investment is strictly on the company. Coinbase it's about to be a public exchange for cryptocurrency.
Right.
That's its purpose. That's the only reasons why it even exists. So this idea that it's a way to invest in cryptocurrency or digital assets.
No, it's not at all. And honestly, from my perspective, I don't plan on purchasing any stock in Coinbase. I don't even use Coinbase anymore, especially after they went and decided to release a lot of public of a lot of the tax information of its users to the U.S. government. The IRS came looking for the information of its users, and they just gave it up. I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but that's kind of antithetical to what the cryptocurrency idea even is. And the fact that they're able to do that and willing to do that, it's enough for me to go, nah, I'll pass. I'll continue to do my trading on a decentralized platform like KuCoin, where there is no centralized structure, where it's not even operating within the U.S., so it doesn't fall under any of its tax guidelines. It's under its the control of the IRS. The IRS can't go to KuCoin and say, "Hey, we need your users' information." There is no information to be had. Is the thing. So I have zero interest in actually supporting the company by buying some of their stock. I mean, I get their value proposition, but at the same time, from a principled standpoint, I don't. It's kind of like my own little boycott of Coinbase. I have zero interest in helping them in any way, shape, and form. Especially now that I've seen some of their practices, and since I've seen that they actually will censor people, they do shut down accounts of people they disagree with. They're not that much different from, say, a Twitter or a Facebook in that regard. So,
what do you mean by shutting accounts down? Like, I mean, you can't really interact with anybody except for make exchanges.
It's not a social media company, but just like the social media mob will go after people's payment processors or the web servers they use. In the case of Parler, for example, where Amazon shut them down and cut them off because they were, they had the wrong opinions. Coinbase has been known to do this as well. If you'll give me just a moment, I can look up some stuff to have to make sure.
No, I believe you. I mean, I'm not discrediting anything that you're telling me, and I understand your position on that. But it's kind of one of those situations where you kind of almost have to take the good with the bad. And what I mean by that is Coinbase is on the verge of exposing the public, to cryptocurrency in itself, unlike it's ever seen before. That's it's a good thing. Now, obviously, the bad thing is they did some things that and in some people's opinion would be shady. Now, as far as the taxes go, I don't know if that was on people that owe the IRS a bunch of money because they didn't file it on their tax returns, but made a shitload of money.
Yep.
I don't know.
It may have been. It may have been.
Which,
but
I mean,
you know how I feel about taxes, so.
No, I understand, but I mean, but the law is the law. It doesn't matter what you think. As far as what you feel about taxes. I don't like taxes either. Majority of us don't, but unfortunately, that's kind of where we're at. You got to pay your taxes.
Yeah.
So if there's individuals that are not paying their taxes on through Coinbase and making a bunch of money and not reporting it, then I can understand why they did it. Now, if it was a situation where it wasn't taxable and then the IRS still came after them because they owed money somewhere else, that I would have a problem with. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's going after money that should be owed to the IRS that's not being reported versus, people owing the IRS saying not filing your taxes on your W-2s from where you work at, and then going after your Coinbase to retrieve that income, which that's not the case from what I understanding. So I think you and I will probably agree to disagree on certain things.
Sure. Well, that would be weird if we didn't. From Bitcoinist.com, Coinbase shuts down WikiLeaks Bitcoin account. Retaliation follows. This is from back in 2018. Coinbase, the largest U.S. Bitcoin exchange, has effectively shut off the account of WikiLeaks shop as the latter has supposedly been engaged in a prohibited use in violation of the platform's terms of service. And that's where I had the problem is like you have a terms of service that can change at the whim of Coinbase whenever they want, however they want. That is antithetical to the mission and vision of crypto in itself. But then they can use that power to shut down things like WikiLeaks shop.
What was the reasons behind that other than the terms and services?
Well,
like what were the terms and services they violated?
Well, it had it in quotes, was engaged in a prohibited use in violation of the platform's terms of service, is what it said. In a response, let's see, there's a tweet showing here. Thank you for your interest in Coinbase. Our primary goal is to make digital currency safe and secure for our customers. Coinbase is a regulated money services business under the FinCEN at fincen.gov, and as part of achieving this goal, we are legally obligated to implement regulatory compliance mechanisms. Yeah. So Coinbase is they kind of pigeonholing, or not pigeonholing, but cornering themselves into a spot where they are going to have to censor certain accounts based on remaining consistent with federal law, I would assume. So upon careful review, we believe your account has engaged in prohibited use in violation of our terms of service, and we regret to inform you that we can no longer provide you with access to our service. The same kind of pre-written, vague type of message you get when you're blocked from Twitter, for example, which I found out, which you told me you are currently suspended from Twitter. Like, I don't know how this happens to you all the time. I don't think I've ever been completely banned from Twitter except maybe like once, and I'm not quiet.
No,
but that's just for me. I mean, I'm not going to hold it against anybody else if they want to, try to support this. And if it helps crypto grow, if it helps Bitcoin grow, hell, fine, by all means. But I'm not going to involve myself in this particular company for those reasons.
Well, is there any company out right now that has the kind of mobility to be able to support cryptocurrency on a public domain, such as our exchange market? I mean,
well, that's what I was saying too. There are decentralized exchanges that are very, very good, very, very good platforms to use. And the one I keep bringing up is KuCoin, KuCoins, coin,
Right.
KuCoin. And I've been using it for at least the last 6 months or so, and it's very intuitive, easy to use platform. According to their website here, let me bring that up. According to them, waiting on my internet to load up, 1 out of 4 crypto holders worldwide is with KuCoin. They're pretty big. I mean, they're not a small little platform here.
So how come they haven't gone public?
Well, they're going public in terms of becoming a publicly traded company.
Yes.
Because they're decentralized.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
They're not ever going to. That goes against the whole principle of crypto in the first place. Is the point?
Do you think that maybe hinders the ability to advance crypto?
No, not at all. I don't believe so. They're
Part of it until I met you, and the entire dealings that I've dealt with when it comes to Bitcoin and Ether and others. That wasn't. I mean, I downloaded to kind of give an example. I downloaded Coinbase, and then Binance was the other one, but it's not available here in the U.S.
It is available. You got to go through a slightly different process because what Binance did is they separated into Coinbase US and then the rest of the world because of stupid regulations, because the US can't get their shit together and figure out what they want to do with this stuff. Like I'm sitting here, like check this out. I'm sitting here looking at tax law and this stuff, and then I know what an amazing topic tax law is, but one of the things is like if I purchase Bitcoin, it triggers an event. Basically, I'm buying in at that point, but at some point when I sell my Bitcoin, that triggers a taxable event. Here's the problem. If I'm taking that Bitcoin and trading it to, say, another cryptocurrency, well, that's a taxable event. I have to report that. Well, then I take that other cryptocurrency. In this case, this transaction would have been Wax tokens. I took my US dollar. I bought some Bitcoin. I took that Bitcoin, bought some Wax tokens, and then I took those Wax tokens and purchased some NFTs, some little digital cards that I was telling you about. According to the tax law in the U.S., technically that is I'm selling my Wax tokens, so that's another taxable event into those. Now, I've got these stupid little cards and stuff. Imagine the U.S. government coming to you and saying, hey, you know those little trading cards that you had, those Magic the Gathering cards that you collected all your life? Well, whenever you sell those to another person, that's a taxable event now. So we're gonna need our cut of that. I don't care that you only sold it for 35 cents. It's a taxable event, and technically you're outside the tax law. It's like they don't understand it, so they tax it like what they're used to seeing. They're viewing Bitcoin like it's another stock. They're viewing Bitcoin like it's another just an asset that you hold and trade like gold or something, and it's just not quite the same thing. It's just not. It's so different that it needs it needs a whole separate government entity, if you're going to go that route, just to focus on that and handle that on its own.
Well, kind of going back to what you were saying about KuCoin, I didn't know anything about it. Back when you've introduced me to Bitcoin years back.
About 5 times over the years, yeah.
I know, and we've done plenty of shows about it. But
yeah,
for me, it was when I actually decided to engage in getting involved with cryptocurrency. You didn't mention KuCoin at the top of the list. It was Binance, it was Coinbase, and it was Robinhood.
Yep.
That was my point. Was like, well, then why? How come you didn't mention, like, if you're such a believer of that, why wouldn't you just stay on course with doing that rather than saying,
Well, like I said, I'm still kind of new to these platforms, and I'm still trying to figure my way. I'm still learning too. So as I'm evolving,
well, you knew about Coinbase, right?
I did know about Coinbase, and
but
I told you a lot. I don't know if it just may have never come up in particular, and it's not, again, it's not a bad platform for beginners to get into, but I wouldn't recommend it anymore. I mean, I used to, and here's the thing. The reason I wouldn't recommend it anymore is because now I've got alternatives that I can use, alternative paths into and out of crypto that I can confidently say I have used them. I do understand them. I do, I can actually be I'm educated on the subject, so I have new information. So I'm going to now present that new information. It's just part of, again, the stuff's constantly evolving. I may a couple years from now go, KuCoin, those assholes did such and such, but guess what? There's another one now that's even better that solved that problem. And that's beautiful. I love that because, think about that. With the US dollar, you can't go, what those assholes did with the US dollar? They just decided they're just going to print off $2 trillion last year. So guess what? I found this alternative currency we can use. That's just not a conversation we're having and able to have based on federal law. So,
well, no, but like what I'm trying to explain, the point I'm trying to make though is that, a lot of people that are new to Coinbase, Robinhood, and these other places, that's the information they don't have before them.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, I get it. I get it.
If you're just your average person, such as myself, that's dealing with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, if that happened back in 2018, there's a good chance I'm not going to know anything about it unless somebody tells me that was around cryptocurrency back in 2018. Otherwise, I'm going to be oblivious to it. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the exchange.
Yeah.
I'm going to put down X amount of dollars and I'm going to buy some shares. That's kind of the point I was trying to make, though, is like, I understand what you're saying as far as what they did was probably not in the best interest for a lot of people. But you have a large population of people that are now getting on the bandwagon of cryptocurrency, particularly, Bitcoin and Ether,
mm-hmm.
that don't know any of this. So they're kind of, their approach is, okay, well, I'm new to the game. I just had a guy on Facebook, he didn't know anything about the stocks being available through Robinhood, because that's one of the places you can purchase, a Coinbase through, believe it or not. I thought that was kind of ironic, but
oh yeah.
What's that?
I was just nodding in agreement.
Oh, yeah. So for me, it's, you have that large population that may not be familiar with what happened in 2018. And if anything, Coinbase is just kind of sweeping that under the rug and wanting to move forward. The concern I have with this, and I've been thinking about this, is what regulations or how much stranglehold is the government going to have on Coinbase, thus cryptocurrency? It was designed so, people wouldn't have control over people's, finances and investments. I'm assuming that was the original idea of Bitcoin, was it not?
As far as what was the original idea?
Making an investment without there being any restrictions and government regulations to control an asset such as digital currency.
Well, it's just it's an alternative way to value exchange with folks, right. Basically, that's decentralized, that's not controlled by any third party, that's, right. Completely uncensorable. It's uncensorable as long as you're not using a publicly traded platform like Coinbase, but yeah. I mean, see, here's the thing. I just would hate to have people get into Coinbase and then have them go, well, guess what? Now you have to shut down your account. And then what happens is, from a tax standpoint, I have to take that money or that Bitcoin and I have to turn that back into US dollars to put it back into my account. Well, what happens is now that's triggered an event. That's triggered a taxable event where you have to now claim your earnings on that Bitcoin, where you really were just trying to hold it. And you're really just going to take that money and go and turn it back around maybe and go buy some more Bitcoin on another platform. But unfortunately, because of the control that Coinbase has as a centralized company, they can then, cause you to have a taxable event. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So I mean, if you're going to do it, you're not. I mean, it's never recommended you keep your money on an exchange. Period. If you've got a large amount of money, make sure you're taking some of that and putting it into cold storage that you control, that nobody else can mess with. Especially if you plan on holding it for a long time. If you're just buying Bitcoin, take it off. You can put it on a decentralized device, a nice cold storage device. For example, I have right here, I have my own Keep key. It's a cold storage device. It's very fancy. It's very very fancy, very nice. Can you see that okay?
On my little screen, yes.
Yeah.
You showed it to me in person before.
Right. Well, I'm not showing you. I'm just making sure everybody else can see it.
No.
But I just can't see me.
Sometimes we're recording anyway.
Yeah. So, it's in this nice little box, comes with a little data transfer cable. You plug it into your computer and you transfer your Bitcoin onto this device. Now, what happens is there's actually an app that you can have so that if you're concerned, like a lot of people love going onto their Coinbase and like seeing how much their Bitcoin's worth. They have an app too. There's an app too that goes with that I just bring it up and I see how much I'm holding and I see how much it's gone up. It's a nice clean user interface. And as long as, I hold this, can't nobody else touch it. I could give this to Anthony right now. He can't do anything with it because he don't know the password. He doesn't know the PIN code. He doesn't know that stuff. Now, I have made sure to let somebody know about that PIN code just in case I die so somebody can still access it. Be responsible with your which was not Anthony. So just basically be responsible with your money. I mean, pretend like that stuff on the exchange is like you giving somebody else your money to trust them with it for a while. If you trust Coinbase, by all means, go for it. But make sure the amount of money you keep on there is relative to the amount of trust you have in the company to manage your funds properly.
Well, I recently moved some of my my assets over to BlockFi to obviously gain interest on Litecoin, Ether, and Bitcoin. And then I also have a cold storage. If you can see it, it's an actual Bitcoin. I can't show you the back because it's got my my wallet information, but I transferred most of my Bitcoin onto this coin, and it's in my possession at all times. Well, not on me personally, because we'll probably release this video and then somebody's going to rob my ass. But
now, just out of curiosity, that coin you have, what happens if you lose that coin?
It's backed up to an app. I'm glad you said that. So this one, you actually you scan your QR code, okay, and there's an app that downloads onto your phone. If you lose the coin, you have to have, what is it? There's a
12-word passphrase.
No, it's what would you say?
A 12-word passphrase, or is it a private key?
Well, no, it's a private